Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. And give us a quick rundown of what we're going to be talking about today before we take a look at those major indexes. Oh, he's muted. I feel like there's a curse now. There's like between you and Ed and Ken.
Right.
All right.
It's a new
Anyway,
process. It's a new
it is.
process.
It
So
is. It
yeah.
is.
So
It is.
okay. So we're definitely going to take a look at the strength in the S&P 500 and start out with Lockheed Martin because that was that whole group was moving. We'll also, hey, techs did not get left behind. We'll take a look at
Yeah.
KLAC and end it with a little revisit to the trade desk that you and Ed talked about yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's take a look at the major indexes, starting off with the chart of the S&P 500. I mean, we've been looking at the NASDAQ a lot, and pretty incredible how that tech-heavy index is really closing in on those all-time highs. But the S&P 500 looks like starting to play a little catch-up here, outperforming the NASDAQ, with the S&P up 1.4% today, with the NASDAQ up 0.8%. And we are approaching that 3,200 level for the S&P.
Yeah, it's definitely left that 3,000 level that we were talking about a while ago. I mean, it just has left that in the rearview mirror. It blasted through its 200-day. Again, the NASDAQ has been showing strength quite, a lot more. But today it was the S&P 500's turn to shine, the Dow Jones Industrials, and this kind of harkens back to that sector rotation that we were talking about just a couple weeks ago, and it just had that feeling of where a lot of the old economy stocks were really rallying very strongly. Some of the newer tech names were just not acting as strong. But it is worth mentioning, as you said, the NASDAQ composite, if we could pull that chart up as well, just to kind of compare the two, the NASDAQ, it's standing just 1.6% off of new high territory, which is just amazing. I mean, when we were looking at this at its lows, I think we all had the feeling that this was going to take some time to recover. And who would have thought that, in just 2 months' time, we would be, all the way back at those new highs. It really is incredible. And it kind of speaks to the fact that you have to be flexible. As much as I did not think this was going to happen, and again, a lot of us didn't, you have to change your mind and you have to change and go with what the market is telling you. Once the market just kept on moving up after that follow-through day on the NASDAQ April 6th, for the S&P 500 April 2nd, you have to go and roll with those punches and keep on playing as long as the market rally is intact.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we've been doing here at IBD. Like you said, could we pause here? On the way up, we've been ready for anything, being kind of nimble, but at the end of the day, listening to the market and letting it guide our buying decisions. But let's take a look, as you mentioned, Lockheed Martin gaining over 3% today. It's had a couple of days of strength as of late and flirting with a buy point from a handle breakout here.
Yeah, and so this whole group was looking very strong. And of course, Boeing is the one that's gotten a lot of the headlines. The symbol on that is BA. But when you're looking at a group that's been kind of decimated in a lot of ways, why not go with the one that has shown the most strength? So Lockheed Martin, it's definitely a very liquid name, huge market cap in that group. And it's already above its 200-day moving average line, approaching, actually it went right through that level of 400. Whenever you hit one of those century marks, that can be very important. And so this one is in a very different position from a lot of the other ones in the group. And that's just kind of part of our bread and butter, where we like to buy on the strength. We don't like to buy the beaten down stocks. So whenever we're seeing a group move, we're always going to look for the stock that is leading that group.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I feel like with the beginners that we have, that's one thing that it does take a little bit of getting used to.
Oh,
When
yeah.
you hear the old saying, buy low, sell high.
Hmm.
Our system looks at it a little differently, but we
Well,
have many
yeah.
years of success
I
to
can't tell you
base
how many
our
of
strategies on.
family members have been asking, oh, is this the time to get into oil? Is this the time to get into these beaten down stocks
Right.
at their lows? And as of right now, I mean, you could have just bought the S&P 500 and done much better than buying some of those beaten down names, because you just never know how long it's going to take for them to come back.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And another area of strength that we've seen is in the semiconductor sector. So let's take a look at KLA, ticker KLAC here, gaining 5% today, Justin, and breaking out to new highs after consolidating. It's kind of interesting. We did see a pullback of 40% here, but like many other stocks that have run up quickly, it is now back at new highs, and not only hitting a high off of this consolidation, but crossing an earlier entry as well.
Yeah, so there was really an early entry here at 180.21. And so while the pattern recognition in MarketSmith, keep in mind, this is a computer algorithm, and it doesn't really take the place of a human eye. There are sometimes things that we can catch with our human brain and years of experience that kind of tell you that there's an opportunity at an early entry. So I would say 180.31 would be that early entry for KLIC. But yeah, now it's crossed that 184.50. A lot of strength in the semiconductors today. SMH was up, considerably. That's the VanEck Semiconductor ETF. So, again, this is one where you're looking for any opportunities from these viable areas, actionable areas where it's crossing those areas of resistance. So KLAC was a great example of that today.
Yes, that it was. And we did put Trade Desk on everyone's radar yesterday. And wow, look at the follow up that it's had today, up almost 12%. Nice heavy volume here. So this is a very strong move today, Justin.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. Now, this is, people have to understand when we are talking about these stocks, we don't know that something like this is going to happen. Just as not all of the ideas work. There are a number of stocks that we come up with, and they don't all work. But being prepared and doing your homework ahead of time is absolutely essential. So having the trade desk on your radar yesterday would have given you the opportunity to potentially act on it today. Now, we actually put it on Swing Trader today, this morning, because again, we liked the action and it was moving through an area that seemed relevant. And yeah, you never know that this is going to be what happens, but if you are buying stocks at the right time, eventually you will be getting moves like this. Maybe not in a single day, but definitely over time.
Yeah, like you said, it's all about doing your homework. That's why we're continually screening stocks with the fundamental criteria that we're looking at, as well as the technical criteria. So plenty of ideas to continually discuss. And we're breaking those down for you here on this show every day, as well as in even more depth every morning on IBD Live. That is our morning live stream for the first hour plus, really almost hour and a half of
definitely hour 40 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of bonus time there for investors to get our experts' takes on what we are seeing that is looking interesting in the market.
And that's the great thing about having kind of a panel, and most of us have over a decade experience, some over 2 decades, a lot of us over 2 decades, and so you kind of get different takes. Sometimes we don't always agree. Sometimes we're looking at things a little differently, and we all have maybe a little bit different trading styles. So you kind of get a lot of different things to look at, and ways to trade, and hopefully one of us fits with your style.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We hope you join us, investors.com/IBD Live for more information on that. But that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.